Yes, that's a good question. So public companies, which today produce most of the oil in the US and actually control just about half of the rigs or the activity, they tend to have better productivity than their small private counterparts. To the tune of about 15%. So 15% more oil is coming out of those wells in the initial period or even in its ultimate lifetime. The reason for this being that a lot of these companies tend to not have access to the best acreage positions where the majors or large independents have acquired leasing rights for decades. That is not to say that some privately held companies, the very large ones, are absolutely on par with their public counterparts. But on average, we're talking 15% difference between public and private.
ألكسندر، هذا العام لم يشهد قطاع النفط الصخري إلا صفقة استحواذ واحدة هامة شهدناها بين شركتين مساهمة عامة مستقلتين independents، صفقة استحواذ Permian Resources على Earthstone بقيمة 4.5 مليار دولار. هل البيئة برأيك اليوم مؤاتية للمزيد من عمليات الاستحواذ والاندماج في قطاع النفط الصخري؟ وهل سنشهدها في الشركات الخاصة أو في تلك المدرجة؟
I think the environment is conducive to more merger and acquisition deals over the next few quarters. You mentioned one important one, possibly the only relevant one between independents. However, there have been a lot of deals this year between different kinds of companies. Maybe not the ones we consider the major independents. For example, Baytex from Canada acquired Ranger Oil in the Eagle Ford for $2.5 billion. Ovintiv from Canada as well acquired 3 small companies in the back end for almost $5 billion. Matador entered the Delaware. Civitas acquired Taprock. Chevron acquired PDC. So you have majors acquiring private companies. We have seen large deals. You have public companies or independents acquiring privates. And this is, I think, what we have seen the most this year. Vital, Callon Petroleum, Civitas have all made significant acquisitions of private companies. And then we also have the other thing happening. Public companies such as Chesapeake selling out their interests in certain basins like the Eagle Ford, sometimes to private companies, although that is a little bit less usual. So normally we see, I think we should be seeing more of the former kind, namely public independents or majors which are now flush with cash after stellar results in the last few quarters, especially in the last of 2022, they should be most likely looking to acquire smaller private companies and expand their footprint inorganically. I think that's most likely what we will be seeing in the next few quarters. True. And private to private deals.
طبعا جزء مهم من القطاع الصخري الأمريكي هو قطاع الغاز الصخري شيل غاز. شركات الغاز الصخري الأمريكية شهدت عودة لتسجيل تدفقات نقدية سلبية في الربع الثاني من هذا العام. هذا يتزامن أيضا مع انخفاض عدد منصات الحفر. ما هي توقعاتكم في رايستاد انرجي لنشاط هذا القطاع على المديين المتوسط والطويل، خاصة في ضوء التوقعات بارتفاع الطلب على الغاز الصخري الأمريكي من محطات التسييل الأمريكية لتلبية الطلب المتزايد على الغاز المسال في كل من أوروبا وآسيا؟
You're right, there is a disconnect between what oil companies, which we've been talking about, have been doing and what they're planning, so still kind of moderate growth. However, on the gas side, it's very different. Negative free cash flows, gas prices have collapsed since earlier this year. And to understand the future, it's important to understand why the gas prices have collapsed. There is no takeaway capacity, midstream bottlenecks all over the place, no demand, and especially no access to international markets, at least not sufficient of it. So as you mentioned, LNG plants, liquefied natural gas in the coming years, will open the doors to an international market for the gas producers, and that will be naturally very positive for them because there will be an outlet, so they will be able to increase their activity. However, in the short term, gas prices will possibly remain depressed throughout this year. However, there are expectations. I think the industry recognizes that gas prices will increase early next year prior to LNG facilities coming online because of seasonal demand. For example, the forward curve for Henry Hub, which is a gas benchmark, is at least 30% above what it is today. So strong backwardation. Most of these gas players, even though they're cash flow negative, they have not entered into hedges to protect from low gas prices next year. In other words, they are confident that gas prices will increase next year. So there is hope, so to speak, in the horizon for them to return to a cash flow positive situation.